Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are demystifying the Indiana property tax system and empowering you to take total control of your assessments. If you own property in the state, understanding this system is absolutely vital for your financial predictability.
Are you trying to find out how much property tax you owe but feeling lost? Stick around as we unlock the secrets of looking up property taxes in Indiana by address. Whether you're a brand new home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just trying to plan your yearly budget, the system can sometimes seem like a massive maze. But today, we're going to make it crystal clear. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover Indiana property tax basics, essential tax lookup tools, a step-by-step search guide, a practical search example, and finally, appeals and pro tips. Let's dive into Section 1, Indiana Property Tax Basics, where we'll get a quick overview of the system. Look, recent surging assessments have felt like a real gut punch to a lot of property owners. That is exactly why you have to understand the mathematical rules that govern them before you can effectively search or dispute your taxes. Fortunately, Indiana constitutionally limits your property tax using what they call circuit breaker caps. Think of it as a safety net. This system ensures your bill remains a highly predictable percentage of your gross assessed value. If it's an owner-occupied homestead, meaning your primary residence, you are strictly capped at 1%. Other residential properties, like rental homes or agricultural land, are capped at 2%, and commercial real property hits the 3% cap. Basically, these percentages are the absolute ceilings for your tax liability.
Now, before we go looking up an address, you need to know about the actual DNA of Indiana real estate, the state parcel number. This is an 18-digit identifier that serves as a totally unique geographic and administrative code for literally every single real property tract in Indiana. You see, standardized databases don't just rely on street addresses because addresses can be messy and inconsistent. Instead, they use this massive number to track every single property with perfect accuracy.
And I know it might look like a random string of numbers at first glance, but the architecture actually breaks the digits down incredibly logically into county, township, section, and block numbers. This highly organized structure prevents duplicate records across all those different local jurisdictions. It really serves as the unique fingerprint of your property.
Moving right along to Section 2, Essential Tax Lookup Tools. Let's find your best portal. So the crucial next step is knowing exactly where to type in that address or parcel number. You essentially have two main tiers of digital lookup tools to choose from. On one hand, we have state-level platforms like the Indiana Gateway and the DLGF portals. These are going to provide centralized data and really broad transparency. But on the other hand, we have local ecosystems managed by individual counties. These use software like Beacon GIS or Low Tax Info, and they provide the absolute most localized daily updates, boundary mapping, and they act as the true source of truth for any recent transactions.
Let's get to Section 3, our step-by-step search guide, where we walk through the exact process to follow. We are now firmly in the execution phase. When you're using local systems like Beacon, which, by the way, quietly processes over 5 million information requests every single year, the process is super straightforward. Step 1, just identify your county-specific portal via a quick web search. Step 2, navigate to the Property Search tab. Step 3, enter the physical address. And Step 4, pull up your property record card so you can extract your gross assessed value and tax history. It's incredibly user-friendly. Alternatively, if you want to use the centralized date system, here is your playbook. Step 1. Head directly over to the DLGF Gateway at gateway.ifionline.org. Step 2. Select the Tax Bill Lookup or Assessed Value Search tool. Step 3. Input your specific county and taxing district. And Step 4. Just enter your physical address or that 18-digit parcel ID we learned about earlier. This will pull up the official state projections, and it is just a fantastic tool for seeing the big picture of your tax obligations. Section 4 is a practical search example. Let's do a mock property search together. Concepts are great, right? But applying them is where the real learning happens. Let's imagine you look up an investment and rental property address, and you find the gross assessed value has jumped dramatically from $200,000 to $240,000. Now, why is this happening? Well, Indiana home values actually rose roughly 42% from 2020 through 2024 because of the pandemic housing surge. Plus, the state recently removed a downward cost adjustment, which pushed assessments up even higher. And since the system ties assessed values directly to recent comparable sales, every single dollar of market appreciation is feeding straight into your assessment.
So, how does that $240,000 assessment translate to your wallet? Since it is a rental property, it falls under the 2% circuit breaker tax cap we covered back in Section 1.
Doing the simple math, your new assessed value results in a maximum $4,800 annual tax bill. Seeing exactly how the assessed value interacts with the cap limit is honestly the true secret to forecasting your expenses perfectly.
Let's wrap up with Section 5, Appeals and Pro Tips. Here is how to fight inflated taxes. What happens if the assessed value you look up just does not match what the property could actually sell for in today's market? Honestly, most property owners mistakenly just pay whatever bill arrives in the mail. But you have a legal right to fight back, and doing so comes without much risk. You should strongly consider filing an appeal when your assessed value jumps 10 to 15% or more, especially if you've made zero improvements to the property. You should also appeal if comparable sales just don't support the valuation, if there are basic factual errors on your property record card, or if sweeping state cost table changes artificially inflated your baseline.
If you decide to take action, this timeline right here breaks down the progressive appeals process. It all starts a ticking clock. You have exactly 45 days from your assessment notice to file a Form 13 with your local assessor. The next step is an informal conference with the assessor. Believe it or not, many cases are actually resolved fairly quickly at this stage, assuming you bring good data and have a little patience for government paperwork. If denied, it escalates to a county hearing, then up to a state-level review with the Indiana Board of Tax Review, and finally, though it's rarely necessary, the Indiana Tax Court.
There is a massive, often misunderstood protection under Indiana law that makes appealing incredibly low risk. Listen to this. A successful appeal cannot result in your assessment being raised higher than it already is, unless you've made secret, unrecorded additions to the property. That means filing is essentially safe. Plus, a successful challenge resets your baseline, meaning your tax savings will beautifully compound year over year.
Before we say goodbye, please keep this disclaimer in mind. This explainer provides general guidance on looking up property taxes by address in Indiana. For personalized information, please consult a tax professional or your local tax authority.
We have covered the caps, those massive 18-digit parcel numbers, the local and state portals, and exactly how to appeal an unfair assessment. The data is out there waiting for you, so go access it, verify it, and protect your hard-earned money. Armed with these tools and strategies, are you ready to look up your address and take control of your next property tax bill? The only question left is, how much could an unchecked error on a government database be costing you every single year?